NAU nationwide. Phoenix plays host to Detroit. Sean St. Jacques and the Manchester United legend Gary Bailey here with you for this one. We jump in to the standings in the USL Championship's Western Conference, and Gary, Phoenix are pushing for home playoff games down the stretch.
Yep, they certainly are. A win here today and they'll go above San Diego Loyal. They will have a home match, and then they'll only be 2 points behind Orange County with the same number of games played. So win today really makes an exciting end to the season for all Phoenix Rising fans.
It's been quite the push up the standings for Juan Guerra's group, and for Trevor James in Detroit City, they're fighting to get the 8th spot in the playoffs in the East.
And they've had a fantastic run, 3 wins and a draw, same as Phoenix Rising, by the way, but it's seen them shoot up into that 8th place. They want to keep that momentum going. They want to get a bit of distance between them and the likes of FC Tulsa and Miami FC behind them.
Tonight's Game Changers presented by Hope High School Online, changing the game of education, and certainly Danny Trejo has been a game changer for Phoenix Rising.
What a strike that was. Absolutely brilliant. No wonder Coach Juan Guerra is jumping up and down, but he scored a ton of goals, 7 in fact in the last 8, 15 in total this season. This man is absolutely on fire.
And keeping the theme of attack alive here, Ben Morris has been a really big attacking threat for Detroit City.
Yeah, he has suddenly found a little bit of form. Got 2 goals against Birmingham 3 matches ago to give them a victory there. Overall this season, 5 goals. Very, very quick player. And look at this one here. From the halfway line, gets a pass that he intercepts, and he is able to hurt teams if you give him space.
No question about that. It's actually the first ever meeting between Detroit and Phoenix, and there's plenty on the line in Arizona tonight, with both teams pushing for the playoffs. We're excited for it. Phoenix against Detroit will kick things off for the very first time, coming up next.
Equality Health is giving doctors more time to be doctors, so they can give you the care you deserve. Ask if your doctor is part of the Equality Health Network today. Equality Health. Caring is back.
Huh. How long have you been tracking our car's value with Carvana?
Just like 7 months.
Should we sell it?
We hold.
Hold.
Silver vans are going for more right now, should we?
Our low mileage is paying off. You think we should?
Hold.
Depreciation's really heating up, you think? We just did 2.5%!
Hold. Now!
I'm on it.
Already sold to Carvana.
Go to Carvana and track your car's value today.
Sanderson Ford gives back. They support local sports.
They support local businesses, restaurants, and music.
Y organizaciones en nuestra comunidad latina.
My favorite event is Operation Santa Claus.
And mine is the Cave Creek Rodeo.
I love participating in the Guardian Games with my son Evan for Special Olympics Arizona.
Your business has allowed Sanderson Charities to give back to all these local charities. We've been paying it forward for 68 years. Thank you.
Join Arizona's only professional soccer club as it goes head-to-head with Indy 11 at the team's new home. Visit phxrisingfc.com or call 623-594-9606 for ticket information.
Tonight's broadcast, Phoenix Rising FC, is presented by Equality Health. Carvana will drive you happy. And by NAU Nationwide. Sean and Gary back here with you. We jump into the starting lineups. Here is an unchanged side for Juan Guerra's Phoenix.
Yet lining up, well, it could be 3-4-3, it could be 3-5-2, depends whether Armanakis joins Trejo and Artiaga up front, but it's a team that is playing extremely well to 3 wins and a draw in their last 4, so why would you change the side?
On the other side of the coin, Trevor James in Detroit, 4 matches unbeaten. Here's the 11 that hopes to make it 5.
Yeah, one change for the coach in this situation here. in for Trevor James. Dario Suarez goes to the bench. Abdullah Job comes in. Maybe they want a slightly more defensive player compared to Dario Suarez, so that 4-4-2 lineup that pushed Connor Rutz up front to join Ben Morris, but he'll probably more likely be 4-5-1 with Morris on his own up front.
We're just talking off air, Gary. It doesn't happen too often anymore when teams meet for the very first time, but it is happening this evening in Phoenix, Arizona. Tonight's availability report is brought to you by Spooner. Big one for Phoenix. No Darnell King, one of their mainstays in their starting lineup, and big miss out for Skage Simonson as well for Detroit. So a couple of notables out for both teams, but two teams that have a lot of firepower in the attack and certainly are going to be teams that expect to be in the postseason and potentially, especially on the Phoenix side of things, make a run as well.
Certainly they could get a home game in that playoffs, but the thing about Phoenix Rising is their bench is very deep. You look at Carlos Harvey, Daniel Crutzen, Fede Varela, Derek Formello, Gallardo. I mean, it's a fantastic bench. You can bring on players in every position. A little bit more stretched Detroit. They don't have the same finances as Phoenix Rising. They've got some decent players on the bench. I guess the big name, though, is Dario Suarez. If they're behind, every chance they'll throw him on in the second half.
Now, we're very excited to bring this one to you. Good crowd with fans still filing in here at Phoenix Rising Stadium, 38th Street and Washington. Phoenix in their reds from head to toe will get us started with Detroit in their road whites. Arteaga kicks us off, and Phoenix are attacking from left to right. We are underway. First ever meeting between Phoenix Rising and Detroit City FC, with the visitors still pushing for the 8th and final playoff spot in the East. Phoenix Rising hoping to clinch home playoff games in the Western Conference as well. Sean St. Jacques, Gary Bailey, our entire crew, happy to have you with us. And both teams, arguably, Gary, playing some of their best soccer of the season. Detroit are 4 games unbeaten coming into this one tonight with some impressive wins under their belt. And Phoenix Rising keeps on rolling with one of the better attacks in the USL Championship.
Yeah, both of them 3 wins and a draw, and as you say, in fantastic form, which has helped Detroit get into 8th place, which they're currently in danger of losing. Depends on what happens in FC Tulsa's match at Oakland Roots. So they'll be desperate to get something out of this match and try and hang on to that 8th and final playoff place. For Phoenix Rising, a win, and they will go into 4th, just 2 points behind Orange County, with a home playoff up for grabs there. And given that Phoenix Rising was sitting just on the cusp of making the playoffs, 3-4 weeks ago, it's been a fantastic run by Wangera's side, and you get the sense that they're just beginning to find form at the right time.
Pass from Devin Amu-Mensah down this near side is picked off. It's out of play. It'll be a throw-in for Detroit on the near side. Eddie Manjoma stepping in for Phoenix. Both coaches, actually, when talking to Juan Guerra and Trevor James, mentioned the form that Devin Amu-Mensah has been in recently for Detroit. And when both coaches are telling you that, you can certainly get enough sources there to tell you that he is playing very, very well at the moment for the visitors. As has been John Stenberg for Phoenix. Since he came in, he was recalled from a loan in Sweden back in August 2nd to be exact, and he came into the lineup 10 days later, and since then, the goals allowed per game for Phoenix has been cut in half since then, from 1.36 to 0.66. His defensive presence has certainly helped to stabilize things for Juan Guerra's group. As Levi's brings Detroit forward, and maybe an opportunity here to move into the penalty area. Stenberg steps in there nicely for Phoenix as Ben Morris tried to make some headway, but Phoenix is back in possession through Manjoma. And it's cleared away by Fuenmayor, the former Oakland Roots player.
You're talking about Devin Amu-Mensah. His 2 goals in the last 2 matches both come from headers, one direct from a corner. And that was the game they drew 1-1 with Memphis. And then the last match against Miami, a vital match for them to beat a team who was vying for that same last spot in the playoff table. He got a nice flick-on header, and that was from a Brett Levi's cross. So, yeah, if you're doing your homework, Phoenix Rising, you would have probably spotted those goals and thought, you know what, whenever there's a set piece, somebody's staying nice and tight with Devin Mensah.
There is Amu-Mensah, picks up the ball. This near side allows Detroit to reset things. It was a 0-0 draw for Phoenix against Tulsa last time out on September 9th. And for Detroit, we talked about this with Trevor James, the vital game against Miami last time out. Goals from Bryant and, as you mentioned, Gary, Amu Mensah, leading Detroit City to a massive 2-1 victory over Miami, who lost again tonight in a 2-1 game against Pittsburgh at home. So Miami's playoff hopes have taken a couple of hits in the last couple of match days, and Detroit's have only improved, and of course now Tulsa trying to chase them down. So it never seems to end until the mathematical certainties are put in place.
Yeah, it does seem to be a battle between FC Tulsa and Detroit for that final playoff spot. The only problem for Detroit is away from home. They've only had 3 wins from their 14 away matches, and each of those wins they had to score 3 goals to get that win. So I see them scoring 3 goals against Phoenix Rising here tonight.
Those 3 wins have been pretty spread out as well, Gary. March 18th, 3-1 against El Paso. June 14th, 3-1 against Hartford. August 27th, 3-2 at Birmingham. So that one is flicked just about out of play past Rocco Rios Novo's goal for Phoenix. It's out for a corner. Matt Lewis was the target of that throw in behind for Trevor James's Detroit City. Trevor James just talked to us about the vital 3 points they picked up last time out. And look at this Carvana corner kick upcoming for Detroit. Can they put it again together against Phoenix? And it's whipped in at the near post, headed away before Michael Bryant could get a piece of it. And Detroit reset the possession.
A set piece is very important to Detroit. They're a real blue-collar side. I guess it's expected to come from Detroit, but they're really a hard-working, tough, physical. They know they maybe don't have quite the same level of quality that some of the other sides have, and they know they have to make up for it by just grit and hard work.
This ball's a dangerous ball across, too close to the goalkeeper in the end. And Rocco Rios Novo gobbles it up for Phoenix.
I guess the other thing for Detroit today is the weather. What is in the mid-90s or thereabouts?
Yeah, before kick, check the iPhone, Gary, and it was 95 degrees in Phoenix, and it actually was a high of 104 today in Arizona. And Trevor James talked about how this could be, if not the hottest, one of the hottest games temperature-wise that Detroit has been a part of this season, and we'll see how that impacts the match, to your point.
They don't get temperatures like that in Detroit too often, do they?
Here's Manchoma, volleying it into the penalty area. Manchoma gets it back. Mensah keeps him away from the inside of the penalty area, and then the pass is picked off and cleared away. Rios Novo recycles it for Phoenix. Hit ahead by Mo Traore on this far side. Gabby Torres, the former Hartford Athletic man, crosses it into the middle. May have taken a deflection. Ryan Shello in for Nate Steinwasser tonight. For Detroit in goal. Resets for the visitors.
It's an interesting choice having Ryan Shello there, because any reason he got a game was Nate Steinwasser, who's been the #1 all season, was ill, and Ryan Shello did very well against Miami FC. No question about that, but you would have thought the main goalkeeper would get his slot back, but not to be.
Arteaga for Armanakis, who's going to curl one. Oh, it's deflected off the bar. Not sure if Shello got a touch to it. I think it was deflected past him.
No, he did. He got a touch on that. And
what a play.
What a save.
Wow.
That is an incredible save. Just when I'm saying that I expect Nate Steinwasser to come back in, and Steinwasser's made a ton of great saves himself, but that was absolutely brilliant from Ryan Shello. It took a deflection first, and then he made a save onto the crossbar.
Seen some incredible saves already tonight, added to the list on the USL Championship. Manchoma, so fast. It's incredible. Shello had time to react to that, but Detroit survived the Phoenix onslaught. That's a dangerous pass. Arteaga tries to get on the end of it, but Detroit just about settled down. And it's off of Traore out for a throw. Now to look at this jaw-dropping sequence.
Armanakis with the strike, little deflection there. It's a double deflection. It comes off the foot firstly, then the head, and then the goalkeeper gets a great touch onto the crossbar. Wow, I mean, that is absolutely brilliant save. Unbelievable.
Incredible moment for Ryan Shello. Maybe he heard you, Gary. Comes up with an incredible moment. After a lovely sequence from Phoenix in particular. Panos Armanakis, who's denied the opening goal.
Just shows you why goalkeeper can be a horrible position. You step up from an illness, and Nate Steinwasser has been an absolute hero for Detroit the last couple of seasons. And somebody comes in and plays well and keeps that place, but that's the nature of goalkeeper. There only is one spot. You know, if you play anywhere else in the pitch, the coach can shoo you in some different position. But as a goalkeeper, you're either in or you're out.
Phoenix Children's is expanding across the valley so we can all grow healthier together. Learn more at phoenixchildrens.org. Look at both coaches and a chance to catch up with Juan Guerra and with Trevor James this week. Appreciate both of them spending some time with us. Both paid each other's teams pretty high compliments, not just because of the form that these teams are in, but of course the job that Trevor James has done just to get Detroit City back into a shouting distance of the postseason, although again the preseason expectations were that Detroit would be much higher in the table. And for Phoenix, there was so much turnover at the beginning of the season under Juan Guerra, and that's continued in some ways as the season's gone along. But Phoenix, who missed out on the postseason a year ago, which is so rare for them, look to be getting back. And again, like you mentioned earlier, Gary, could be playing a game, maybe two, here in Arizona when it's all said and done. One back by Trejo. Panos Armanakis trying to thread the ball through. And while Arteaga is surrounded by three Detroit City defenders and loses out.
Lots of numbers back for Detroit City. They just defend, make it very, very difficult to break them down. They might be the lowest scorers in the East, but they've got the joint second best defense behind Pittsburgh. So they work on the basis, they give you very little, they try and snatch whatever comes their way. And again, credit to Trevor James that he's done that with a much more limited budget than I would think Juan Guerra has to work with.
Trejo back to Torres. Torres' ball across. Handed away before Shello could get to it. Trejo tried to keep it alive. Maybe a chance for Zambrano. Traore is going to reset for Phoenix Rising. Pass in for Hernandez. Forced back by Connor Rutz. Torres again. One of those players that Juan Guerra told us has been more of a rotation player at times, but those players from the bench have gotten more opportunities recently and have stepped up for Phoenix. Here's Fuenmayor. Fuenmayor gets it back. He's a searching ball in for Arteaga, but it's behind him. And Maxi Rodriguez controls for Detroit.
Problem now for Detroit is they're finding it difficult to get out of their own half. There's so many Phoenix Rising players in a high press and losing the ball too often. Detroit, see Maxi Rodriguez trying to figure out what to do next. Now they've got an injury.
Player down on the near side for Detroit. It's Brett Levi's. It's very important to what Trevor James and his staff like to do.
Yeah, 2 assists in the last game against Miami, Brett Levi. So the last, they're giving the signal that he needs to come off, and that's a huge blow to Detroit City.
We'll see if the Detroit City staff follows through. The rep product. Told Richard Ballard is warming up for Detroit. There he is. See if he ends up having to come on here. We'll await the confirmation. Anytime on the road, doesn't matter the opposition. To make this early of a change, it could make things very difficult for a team, but see if it comes to that.
The thing was that Brett Levi's went down. I didn't see a tackle or anything, and generally when players go down away from a tackle, it's because they've obviously pulled something or whatever, and that's never a good sign. Referee just helping Brett to his feet. Just his body language overall doesn't look too positive.
Joshua Encarnacion is our center official tonight in Phoenix, Arizona. Another look at the last sequence that saw Levi's fall over without any contact. And when he asked for a sub before that even happened, Gary, you can see there, great job by our crew catching that. And he falls over moments later. player to lose this early on. Detroit City perspective.
When we spoke to Trejo James, we asked about Brett Levi's, and he was talking to us about how good he is at whipping balls in. Of course, he got the 2 assists last game against Miami, but he said in general, the quality of the ball he puts into the danger area is really top class.
Richard Ballard is confirmed to come on here for Trejo James in Detroit City. Early changes made, Levi's off, Ballard on for the visitors. We'll see how that impacts proceedings.
Well, he should be fresh. He only played 1 minute against Miami in the last match, so he's probably quite excited to get on nice and early in the game.
The change happens, and we're back to live action with Detroit in possession. Manjoma on the cover here for Phoenix, and had a couple of players on his hip. It's out of play. This portion of the match is brought to you by Modelo, a reward for those with a fighting spirit. Modelo, the mark of a fighter. Any two teams in the USL Championship epitomize that mark of a fighter, it might be these two. Two very physical teams that are not going to pull any punches. Detroit looking to land a blow here from a throw-in. It's bundling around inside the penalty area. It was a bit dangerous, and Manjoma takes no risks and just gets it out of play.
Yeah, I think if you want to beat Detroit City, you're right. You have to match them with their physicality. You're going to put a lot of balls, long throws into the box, crosses, corners, set pieces, and if you don't challenge, you're in trouble.
Bryant throws it in. It's headed right back out of the penalty area.
Yeah, you're good, Mark.
Cycled by Reese Williams and sent back into the penalty area. Mayor's head. Amu Mensah. Oh, it's headed down, and there was a bit of a slip on the way through. Didn't quite work out for Detroit, and Rios Novo resets.
He's been a good signing for this season. Rios Novo, I think, made some really, really good saves. Got 2 back-to-back clean sheets in previous matches. Great reflex keeper. Maybe not as strong in the air, but very good when it comes to shot stopping.
Third in the league with 84 saves, to your point, wow, Gary. And he's actually been on 3 USL Championship Teams of the Week this season as well. And to your point, it's been a really nice addition to Phoenix this season, like you said.
We were talking beforehand, and we're trying to find a player on the starting 11 for Phoenix who was at the club last season, and I can't see one. I'm not. Was Gabby Torres there last year?
Yes, he was.
Yes, so he might be the one. But virtually everybody else has been signed. So Juan Guerra with a total redo of the lineup.
Even at the beginning of the season, Gary, I believe it was around 18 new players for Juan Guerra that came in, really reshuffled the deck, and now that Kevin Lambert is gone as well, off to Real Salt Lake, the MLS organization. It's another longtime Phoenix player who's been in the big games. The Phoenix great teams of yesteryear. Really has been a turnover, a new leaf kind of season, but it's also a season that has seen Juan Guerra's team push up the table and get closer to where Phoenix expects to be.
I think it's a familiarity. After a while, you get to know each other. Danny Trejo, Manuel Arteaga, what a combination they have been up front. It takes game after game before you get to understand the capabilities of the new player next to you, and you can read them, they can read you. And that's why, for Phoenix Rising fans, this must be exciting, because not only are, with the win, do they move up into the situation where they've got a home playoff match, but they could go higher, they could catch Orange County, who knows, and the form they're in, I don't think they'd be too frightened to go to San Antonio or Sacramento Republic and get a result there. So exciting times ahead for Phoenix Rising fans.
Yeah, I think San Antonio might be out of sight for Phoenix, but everybody else, like you said, Gary, and Sac Republic, of course, as well, but Orange County and certainly San Diego very much in play for Phoenix to maybe push into that 3 spot, which could potentially, if they would win in the first round, yield 2 playoff games for them at home. Manakis cuts off Amu Mensah. Rios Novo appreciates the extra effort. That's a Phoenix Rising recycle.
You can see that Detroit aren't going to have as much possession as Phoenix, not Not a ball-playing side to the same level as Phoenix Rising are, much more verticality.
Arteaga. Armanakis. Monjoma back across. Oh, Shello gets a hand to it and gets Detroit out of trouble again. Hernandez recycles it. Zambrano. Back for Fuenmayor. Armanakis. Phoenix look to build again after another huge touch from Shello. Gabby Torres. He's forced all the way back to Mo Traore. And then Traore's given it away here. Detroit maybe with a chance to counter through Connor Rutz. Rutz up ahead for Morris. Morris back for Rutz! And Rutz spurns the chance. Lovely little give and go between the two Detroit attacking players, but it fizzles out.
They made that just from a turnover ball, and the two of them down that right-hand side. This is moments earlier. Shello gets a hand to it. There's two red shirts behind the goalkeeper. And that's that shot wide from Connor Rutz. They might not get many chances, Detroit, so you might look back at that one, Connor Rutz, and think he should have at least forced Rios Novo into a save. But again, this is not, it's not a case of they want to play too much passing football, Detroit. If you ever look at the passes so far this season, it's over 10,000 for Phoenix, just over 7,000 for Detroit. Much more vertical in terms of they get the ball forward nice and quickly, and then much more of a defensive side to try and catch you on the counter.
Rodriguez trying to find Amu Mensah, who just about recovers, but gives it away to Mo Traore. Mo Traore was a Team of the Week honorable mention this past week for Phoenix, adding on to the defensive improvements we've seen under Juan Guerra this season. Here's Armanakis. Hernandez threads it through for Panos Armanakis. Curls it into the penalty area, and it's held by Shello.
Armanakis is looking for a runner at the near post. Danny Trejo a little bit late with his run. He applauds Armanakis for the thought. Again, all those crosses are coming from Armanakis. There's been about 3, if not 4, in this first 20 minutes. And Detroit will be looking to close that down a little bit.
Touched ahead by Reese Williams here for Detroit City, who could be able to play themselves in. Rutz is offside. Goal doesn't count. And the Detroit attack, once again, is stopped.
That's on Connor Rutz. He's got to keep himself on side. He can see down the line. It's a fantastic counter-attack. He's got space to run into. Can't get caught offside there.
Pre-game with Raising Cane's, proud supporter of Phoenix Rising. Skip the line and order on our easy mobile app for your order of premium fresh hand-breaded chicken fingers, special sauce, and don't forget to add our fresh hand-squeezed lemonade. Let's go Rising. The offside flag comes back to haunt Phoenix here on this near side, and it's a Detroit City free kick. If Detroit needed a few of those Raising Cane lemonades to stay refreshed in the Arizona sun. Little dummy by Reese Williams on this near side. He's cut out by Fuenmayor in a recycle for Phoenix. Sent forward by Rocco Rios Novo. He for Monjoma, falls for Armanakis. Williams impedes his progress and try to get the possession back here. Abdoulaye Diop. Pressure from Arteaga on Shello, who outlets it. Zambrano, held by Rodriguez. And Traore is going to be forced all the way back to his goalkeeper. We lost Brett Levi's, who was named to the Team of the Week in the USL Championship for this past week 27, along with Devin Amu Mensah. A stat on Ryan Shello that's probably worth mentioning after the big saves that he's produced. Joined the team last season in 2022. He's had 3 prior starts in goal, Gary, in all competitions for Detroit, including the game against Miami, as we mentioned earlier. 3 wins out of 3. Detroit has never lost in all competitions with Ryan Shello as their goalkeeper. That includes an Open Cup game as well. We'll see if that theme continues tonight for Trevor James. Maybe he's turning into a good luck charm.
Well, he's certainly making his own luck with those saves he's made so far. Absolutely brilliant, the first one, but this is the foul by Gabby Torres. Just misses the ball. A little bit of skill out wide there from Ballard, and no question that that's a free kick. I don't know who he's trying to blame for that. He's saying that nobody spoke to him, but I think as players we all tend to do that. When something goes wrong, we look for somebody else to blame.
It's going to be a Detroit City free kick. Not many better in the league to take these than Maxi Rodriguez. Rodriguez services it into the penalty area. It's headed centrally, and it's headed out only as far as Jope. Goes for an ambitious effort, and skies the chance.
I think that's an example there of what a handful Detroit are in the air. They won that high ball in the box. 2 balls on the pitch, that's going to be a problem. But they won that high ball into the box there, and unfortunately couldn't put it to good use, but that's going to be the continuing theme. Real physical battle in the box.
Good opportunity to update on the other games going on at the moment. The other 3 games that are happening are all at halftime. 0-0 between Sac Republic, El Paso, Tulsa leading at Oakland by a goal to 0.
That's bad news for Detroit.
It is, and it's pretty good news for everyone in the West as far as the Oakland side is concerned. Philip Goodrum scoring again for FC Tulsa. And it's Vegas leading in Monterey Bay. It was 2-0 at one point. It's now 2-1 at the halftime break. Frank Yallop's group have gotten it back to within a goal. Of course, we had the Lou City win over San Diego earlier. Charleston dropped points at Loudoun. That's another pretty surprising result. And the champion San Antonio in a knockdown, drag-out fist fight with the Rowdies. Not literally, of course, but 3-3 that one finished after a knockdown, drag-out affair in Texas.
Wow, what a game. That must have been 6 goals between 2 fantastic teams.
And a stoppage time equalizer from San Antonio to wrap it up, as this is going to be a free kick for Phoenix off the back end of this challenge.
A little bit of body contact there from Eddie Manjoma. Yeah, the ball's already gone, leg comes out, no question that's a free kick.
Work for Rios Novo and company to do here. The set piece.
I don't have to anymore.
Ramanakis in the wall, along with Danny Trejo. Once again, it will be Maxi Rodriguez. 5 or 6 around the penalty area for Detroit. And it was nearly kept in play around the back, but in the end, it's sliced out of play for a goal kick. Rising fans from now until October 6th place a $100 deposit for 2024 season tickets and receive a complimentary ticket to one of Rising's 3 remaining regular season home matches. Visit phxrisingfc.com for more information.
You know, it's interesting, both of these teams have had a really good run of late, and we spoke to both Wangera and Trevor James and said, was there a particular match where things turned? And Wangera said, yes, Sac Republic, when we beat them, I think everyone, that was about 3 games ago, everyone started to believe we are a really good side, and I'm not surprised because they really did play well against Sac Republic that day. And for Detroit, they said the win over Louisville at home was also the moment that they felt they could really take on anybody and win. So it's amazing how that, when you get on a good run, it's one game that can turn things around and make the players believe.
Remember, Gary, we did that game, the Detroit win at home against Louisville. It was their first time ever beating Lou City. At the time, they played multiple times in the league and in the US Open Cup as well. Like you said, Trevor James said it just felt like a huge confidence boost for not only the fans, but for the players as well. And they were going into that game how low Detroit City was, and
yes,
that's a huge boost for them. And it's continued to carry on as Monjoma tries to volley it essentially into the penalty area. Abu Mensa tries to keep it alive. It's a Phoenix corner. It's a Carvana corner kick in front of the Rising Ultras. Always in full voice here in Phoenix. And Phoenix land the first blow here. It's played short for Trejo. Played for Hernandez, who lifts a cross in. It's going to trickle out of play for a goal kick. Another attack fizzles out for Phoenix as we approach the half-an-hour mark. Jean St. Jacques, Gary Bailey, our entire crew, happy to have you with us for this first ever meeting between Phoenix and Detroit. Phoenix coming into the night 5th in the West, Detroit 8th in the East. Still with 3 other games going on as well. It's been another thrilling Saturday of USL Championship play.
Funny, we're talking to Wangera about that, and he said this is the part of the season he loves the most, because he said every game for every team has something riding on it. Every point is precious. You know, you can see you go up the table or down, and he said it, you know, he really finds it super exciting. I think it's a lovely positive approach to take to what in some people's eyes might be a very pressurized, horrible part of the season. He says, no, it's the most exciting and it's the best.
I believe it's Billie Jean King who said that pressure is a privilege, right? And that's what these teams want to be a part of at the end of the season, the winner go home games. And some teams like Detroit City kind of playing them right now as well. Games where they have to pick up points if they're going to make it into the top 8 when it's all said and done on October 14th. Mensa trying to throw the ball through. Fuenmayor cleans things up for Phoenix. Detroit were looking for a foul there. It didn't come. This is going to trickle all the way back to the other end of the pitch and out for a goal kick. Of course, Pittsburgh beating Miami earlier today is certainly good for Detroit's hopes and for Tulsa's as well. We were talking about this before we came on, Gary. It could be a result, not mathematically, of course, but it could be a result that maybe takes Miami out of this 3-horse race. You never know, but it's a tough, tough loss for Miami to take after, of course, the heartbreaking loss to Detroit in Hamtramck last time out prior to today's match.
Well, it's 4 straight losses for Miami, so it's very much their own doing. But look at the teams they have to play yet at the end of the season. They've got Lou City, Birmingham away, they've got Charleston away, and Sac Republic away. So if Miami make the playoffs with those matches coming up, well, they certainly deserve to be there. But I think you're right. I think the loss to Detroit, I mean, Pittsburgh at home was never going to be easy, but the loss to Detroit was a big nail in the coffin.
Detroit looking for another little give and go on this far side, and the foul by Ben Morris allows Phoenix to get a free kick.
To be fair to Detroit, we're sort of 1/3 of the way into this match, and it's 0-0. They've come in the last sort of 10 minutes. They've had a couple of sniffs around the box, and they're putting a little bit more pressure on. So other than that one incredible save from Ryan Shallow onto the crossbar, they've been pretty much able to contain Phoenix so far. I mean, there's still a long way to go. It's fairly impressive what Detroit have done for a team that is way down the table. There's trouble there. Both players are not moving, so they are now. That was good to see them get up, at least one of them get up.
There was a slip from Rios Novo on the cross, and then Gavi Torres, who has had a bit of an injury history with all the clubs he's played for in the USL Championship. This is not what Juan Guerra wants to see. Some concern on the Phoenix head coach's face, although he is delivering some other instructions as well. Well, look at the challenge that led to the two players going down. Bryant for Detroit and Torres is still down for Phoenix.
Look at Bryant, the way he lay there for a moment. I thought he was knocked unconscious and suddenly he just jumped up. You could see it was a big collision, a slip. Nothing nasty in it at all. So coming together in a bit of a slip on the turf, on the grass rather. I'm pleased to see that Bryant got up quickly, because for a moment it looked like he'd been knocked clean out.
We had to see Trevor James make an early substitution with Brett Levi's. I wonder if Juan Guerra may be forced to do that. We will see. Well, Michael Bryant had that touching moment with his second-minute goal against Miami last time out. He had an interview with the USL Championship earlier this week, and he had a heart celebration with his hands after he scored that goal, and it was for his girlfriend and for some of his other family and friends that were at the game, and it was because one of his girlfriend's friends last year had committed suicide. That game day happened to be that friend's birthday, and the celebration was for him. And it was a really touching moment in that game, and of course Detroit went on to win the game as well, and Michael Bryant dedicated the goal and the win over Miami to his girlfriend's fallen friends. That's a really touching story there, of course, as well. We obviously hope that Gabby Torres, in the meantime, he's okay for Phoenix, and we wait to see if Juan Guerra will have to make a change. Multiple players warming up for Phoenix at the moment. We'll see if anything is alterated.
Well, the way you mentioned that Michael Bryant goal, what a good goal it was.
Yeah.
Cross from Brett Levi's, and it was a diving header. Brave, where all the feet were flying. That's what sums up Detroit City under Trevor James. Really tough side physically, and interesting to see that Trevor James is going to move up into the director of coaching role next season, and then he'll have to find a coach to take over the job, the very difficult job of getting Detroit City into the playoffs every year.
Good hand for Gabby Torres. Comes to this near side of the pitch. Juan Guerra looks to still be talking it over with one of his assistants here, as far as whether that might be that for Gabby Torres. Still being stretched out on the Phoenix bench on the near side. There he is. It does look like a player has been summoned here for Phoenix. Erickson Gallardo might be the player who is getting ready to come on. We will await confirmation on that.
Again, the quality and depth that Phoenix Rising have to bring a player like Gallardo off the bench. In fact, every one of their subs went through it before, but Carlos Harvey, I'm surprised he doesn't start. He's so good.
Yeah.
Daniel Crutzen has been a regular in defense until they saw John Stenberg come back. Fede Varela, Emil Cuello, Derek Formella they got from Oakland Roots. Wow, what a bench.
In the meantime, with Phoenix down to 10, Jope on the ball here. Maxi Rodriguez for Detroit City. It's cut out by Trejo. And cleared by Fuenmayor. A chance for Arteaga to run onto this, but step too slow that time. And Cello recycles for the visitors. As this is happening, Erickson Gallardo is getting his instructions from Juan Guerra. So unfortunately, that looks like the end of the night for Gabby Torres. It's nothing serious. He's dealt with multiple injuries in his USL Championship career. As you rightly said, Gary, not a bad player at all to bring on as a sub is Fuenmayor. There's a bit with fire there, but Rios Novo had his head on a swivel.
Rios Novo under pressure to keep playing well because, of course, Patrick Rakowski on the bench, the 30-year-old German, who came in from Orange County, and I thought he would come in as the number one. But to be fair, Rios Novo has played well enough to have kept him out. I think he had one game earlier in the season, a game against Sac Republic when they got beat 4-0. But he's had two games, and things didn't go well for him in that match, although I don't think it was very much his fault. But Rios Novo has held on to the number one position.
Stenberg assesses his options and threads the ball through for Trejo. Lovely little turn. Armanakis. Arteaga. Whipped out wide by Hernandez, and Mo Traore just a step too far out in front of him. And here's the confirmation of the substitution. Gabby Torres is off. Erickson Gallardo replaces him. Oh, you could see the look on Gabby Torres' face. He's been through this multiple times. Hope it is not too serious, but it was a heavy collision with Michael Bryant.
Grabbed his knee, I think, and I just think, you know, when you slip, it's hard to read a tackle when the player slips. Generally, you can read how they're going to impact you and get your body parts away from being hurt, but there, Bryant slipped, and it just collided with what looked like his knee, Gabby Torres, so I do wish him a speedy recovery.
Heavy strike from Hernandez is blocked. First touches for Erickson Gallardo. Finds Armanakis. He sets the play. Fuenmayor. Fuenmayor again. Hernandez. 5 minutes and change plus stoppage time to go in the half. Phoenix have had a couple of good chances, but Detroit's held them scoreless. Fuenmayor. Touch for Arteaga. Still could be a chance on here, and a shot is blazed over the top. I think it was Manjoma who had switched sides. He was on this near side for a good chunk of the half. He takes aim, but can't hit the target for Phoenix.
Yeah, Gallardo's come on the right-hand side. Manjoma's moved to the left, and he hits this really hard. Lots of power, just lifts over the crossbar, which makes it easy for Ryan Cello just to wave it goodbye. But again, this is what Phoenix have been reduced to, trying to get shots from outside the box, trying to create, but been really limited by a solid Detroit City performance. And, you know, Detroit have, of their 5 games left after this game, they have 3 at home. So if they can leave here with a point, for example, I think they'd be absolutely delighted, and they'll look to their home form to see them into the playoffs.
Zambrano, great work under pressure. Once but twice, and he finds Traore. This is Hernandez. That's going to be a foul and a free kick for Phoenix. It's Trejo wins a set piece off of Matt Lewis. Referee will have them take it once again. Phoenix will put more numbers in and around the penalty area for this. Hernandez will take it. First time ball in from Armanakis. It's headed centrally for Zambrano. Still not cleared. Trejo gets his head onto it, and then it's the substitute Ballard who clears for Detroit.
Good defensive work from Detroit there to win those high balls and to clear their lines. As we said, turning out to be a very, very difficult side to break down.
Hernandez. There's a ball through for Arteaga. Nice hold-up play from Manuel Arteaga. Hernandez. Traore. Zambrano, spin cycle on Rodriguez. Out wide, Gallardo. Keeps the ball in, looking for Arteaga. Was headed forward, then chested back down for Manjoma. Fuenmayor back towards the penalty area, I should say, not quite in. And Detroit just about deal with it. One more chance maybe here for Armanakis. Now Hernandez, out wide. Gallardo has space to work with. Gallardo, find the angle, finds Hernandez. Fuenmayor. Weave down to that far side again. Traore.
And they're trying to stretch Detroit, going from one side to the other.
Zambrano, it's Trejo! Acrobatic save by Cello, and I think it wouldn't have counted anyway. Flag is up. Ryan Cello wasn't to know that, and makes another incredible stop. even though it won't go down as a save because the offside flag thwarts him anyway.
Absolutely brilliant save. It's another phenomenal reaction. It's not just that, but it's the balance of the hand to see it over the crossbar properly, the strength in the hand. Trejo saying he wasn't offside, but it makes no difference because the save was made. He's probably claiming the corner. Ryan Shallow's coming up with some unbelievable goalkeeping in the match against Miami, and especially here today.
When wellness for mind and body is the goal, Day1 sparkling water and CBD is always a win-win with 20 milligrams of CBD real fruit juice, zero sugar, and refreshing effervescence. Score yours at the concession stand today. Your better tomorrow starts today with Day1. Detroit come up with something at the end of the half here. Ben Morris looks for help in the middle. Cross, he's headed high into the air. Rodriguez keeps it alive for Jope. Bryant tries to thread a pass through. It's picked off by Traore and cleared by Traore. Release cycle for the captain, Stephen Carroll. For Detroit is going to unleash an effort. That was always rising.
It's a rather optimistic strike from Stephen Carroll. Is it nice as well? I can put it obviously 40 yards out there. If that ends up in the back of the net, that's goal of the season. Again, they do offer a little bit going forward. We saw a minute earlier, Ben Morris got down the left-hand side. His cross had a little bit too much air on it, but they have threatened around the fringes occasionally, Detroit City, and that's, you know, threats and a reminder to Phoenix that they have to score goals if they're going to win this match, because Detroit is always capable.
Trejo across the middle, blocked away as we enter 5 added minutes. At the end of the first half, it's a throw-in for Phoenix on the far side. Another look.
Does well, Trejo here. Game blocked at the near post. Good defending, Detroit. Just to make the point, I think Phoenix will need a couple of goals because Detroit are always capable of snatching something. So interesting team talk coming up at halftime for Juan Guerra.
Arteaga tried to spin into space. He's dispossessed, but it's given away cheaply. And Arteaga plays it across. It's Trejo! It's in! Danny Trejo scores for Phoenix in first half stoppage time. His team leading 16th goal of the season. Arteaga with some unselfish play as well. Amu Mensah nearly cleared it off the line, but it slithers through, and Phoenix takes the lead.
Of all the pressure that has come from Phoenix Rising, it's an error by Detroit at the back. It has been their undoing. They've defended bravely and solidly. When the ball comes back here, on the ball, it's a bad first touch and then difficult to recover. Gets back on the line there. I think that's Stephen Carroll is it who gave it away. And then there was options, and you're quite right, Arteaga very unselfishly giving it to Danny Trejo. He just looks for a gap, finds it just inside the post there. Amu Mensah inches away from clearing it off the line, but for all the wonderful defending by Detroit, it's a simple error that allows Phoenix Rising to take the lead.
Trejo continues to be right in the mix for the Golden Boot in the USL Championship. It's that combination again, Trejo and Arteaga. They're just the second set of teammates to record at least 14 goals in a season in league history. And now Danny Trejo, Gary, 11 goals in Phoenix's last 15 games.
Absolutely fantastic. And together, Arteaga and Trejo have 30 goals. I think only 7 combinations have ever got 30 goals in a season before now. Only bad news for Trejo is Adikwa scored tonight, so he remains 1 goal ahead in the current standings, but there's still 45 minutes to come for Danny Trejo.
Goal was brought to you by Gateway Community College, and like you said, Gary, Detroit's hard work undone by a mistake at the back. And that certainly changes the team talk that you alluded to earlier for both coaches.
It does, because I was going to suggest that Juan Guerra would be saying, be patient, it will come. Well, now it's come. Now he's going to want a second to put this to bed. So he's going to want his team to create chances. But they can do it knowing they're 1-0 up at home, and that Detroit are going to have to come at them and leave some gaps as the second half goes on. For Trevor James, well, the door is opened, Phoenix are in, so it's a case of don't concede anymore and get one back, but difficult to get one back when you don't get much possession, and that's where Phoenix Rising can dominate the possession and control the game.
Throw in for Phoenix. Even Juan Guerra was pointing in Phoenix's direction for a throw on this near side, with a minute and a half left of the minimum of 5 added minutes. Certainly when you think of playoff runs, strikers have to be a big part of it, and Phoenix has 2 deadly attacking strikers in Arteaga and Trejo, both on full display there. But Joma tried to keep that in on the far side. It was a good effort. It was always against him, and he wasn't able to quite do it. Ballard for Detroit. 2 defenders on him. Plays Jope into space here. Maybe Detroit can come up with something. Latter stages of the half here. Jope stays with it. Still Abdoulaye Jope. And he picks somebody out. He lays it off. A shot does come in. It's deflected out of play. Oh, and the offside flag is up. I was going to say, is it a goal kick or is it a corner? The assistant's flag was up on the far side. So it's a moot point, and it's a Phoenix free kick. And that will likely take us into the halftime interval. Certainly has been an intriguing half, and Phoenix have finally broken down the Detroit door here. Because of that man and his strike partner Arteaga. Rios Novo clears. Goes right out of play for a throw. 5 minutes are up. And halftime is up here in Phoenix. Danny Trejo breaks the deadlock in first half stoppage time. His 16th goal of the season has Phoenix ahead, and Detroit have it all to do in the second half, Gary.
They certainly do. They've defended so well, Detroit. They'll be annoyed with themselves for giving Phoenix Rising the opportunity. The longer they held them at bay, the more frustrated Phoenix might have become. Now at 1-0 going into the second half at home, you get the sense that it's all pointing towards a Phoenix Rising win.
Certainly poised for an intriguing second half for these fans to take in Phoenix. And Detroit's defense held up for quite some time in that first half because of saves like that from Ryan Cello. But Danny Trejo and company break the deadlock, and Phoenix has a 1-0 lead at the half. Plenty to come on the other side of the break.
Who do you want to be? Where do you want to go? How fast do you want to get there? At Gateway Community College, you can achieve a career that takes you places in less time and for less money. Opportunity is not just for the select few. Living better is for everyone. Let us help you discover your future.
Hey, Rising fans, spring is in the air and Circle K has what you thirst for. Stay cool with our famous Polar Pop Cups that stay cold longer. Fill your cup with your favorite flavor or mix it up to create your own. Or try our freshly ground iced coffee starting at just $1.89. While you're here, mix and match any 2 roller grill items, just 2 for $4. Check out these hot deals and cool down at Circle K, America's thirst stop and proud sponsor of Phoenix Rising.
Sanderson Ford gives back. They support local sports.
They support local businesses, restaurants, and music.
Y organizaciones en nuestra comunidad latina.
My favorite event is Operation Santa Claus.
And mine is the Cave Creek Rodeo.
I love participating in the Guardian Games with my son Evan for Special Olympics Arizona.
Your business has allowed Sanderson Charities to give back to all these local charities. We've been paying it forward for 68 years. Thank you.
Equality Health is giving doctors more time to be doctors, so they can give you the care you deserve. Ask if your doctor is part of the Equality Health Network today. Equality Health. Caring is back.
Back here at the half in Phoenix, Danny Trejo at it again for Rising, and he's given them a 1-0 lead to work with at the half. Still plenty for Detroit to do to potentially get back into the game in the second half, but in the meantime, let's catch up with Manuel Arteaga of Phoenix Rising.
Júpiter. No. Saturno.
Marte.
Saturno.
Plutón.
La Tierra. Leonardo da Vinci. ¡Vamos! 8 docenas de huevos.
8 por 12.
8 por 12 es. 8 por 10 son 80. 8 por
96.
100, no.
96.
116. 96. Bien, sí. Ganaste.
Bueno.
Está bien.
Join Arizona's only professional soccer club as it goes head-to-head with Indy 11 at the team's new home. Visit phxrisingfc.com or call 623-594-9606 for ticket information.
Well, good stuff there from the boys. Maybe they should stick to their day jobs of being really good players for Phoenix Rising. We'll take a break. Phoenix ahead of Detroit City by 1-0. We'll get to stuff from around the league, and then the second half is just around the corner.
We all have goals. But let's be honest. Most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
Only 3 home games left. Don't miss the chance to see your Phoenix Rising go head-to-head with Indy 11 as they battle to secure a postseason appearance right here in Central Phoenix off 38th Street in Washington. Wednesday night at 7:30. Tickets to the match start at $25, and the 2-time Western Conference champions are just 5 stops on the Valley Metro to Phoenix and Tempe. Visit phxrisingfc.com or call 623-594-9606 for more information.
Sean St. Jacques, Gary Bailey back here with you. Halftime in Phoenix with Danny Trejo and Phoenix Rising ahead by 1-0 against Detroit City. Very well poised for the second half, but before we get to that, let's take a look at what's going on around the USL Championship, and this one's very Orange County centric. Of course, Malalowski's big move to the Danish Superliga with FC Nordsjælland, and of course, that coming off the heels of the Switchbacks stunning Orange County last night, Gary.
Yeah, you were on that match, and we were just saying Orange County had a ton of chances to have got something out of that game, but I guess, you know, it has to end at some stage, and what a run it has been, and good luck to Malalowski. A number of players from USL have tried to go there, Forrest Lasser being amongst them, and Ronaldo Damas have not succeeded. I hope Malalowski is able to.
And he'll leave in January of 2024. Of course, there's still many big games to come. RGV needs it badly tomorrow against Birmingham Legion. Miami, maybe their last hopes. They have to beat Louisville surely on Wednesday. And a big game in hand for San Diego against Monterey Bay, who just equalized against Vegas.
That's a huge one for Monterey Bay, and also for San Diego, because a win here for Phoenix means that San Diego will drop out of a home place in the playoffs.
Memphis Birmingham on Wednesday, worth watching as well. Ton of big games around the league today. We talked about Charleston dropping points, Miami, big loss as well. Big wins though for Lou City and Memphis, and that crazy 6-goal affair in San Antonio.
It shows you how good Tampa Bay Rowdies are to be 3-2 up at San Antonio. Pittsburgh also, at the end, it was a late equalizer by Miami, and an even later winner for Pittsburgh Riverhounds to top the East.
It was Robbie Mertz who got the winning goal in the end for Bob Lilly, signed for a huge win, and Wilson Harris with the winner earlier for Louisville against San Diego. Big second half here in Phoenix still to come. We'll go through highlights and stats, and then the second 45 between Phoenix and Detroit City. At the half, Phoenix ahead, still plenty to come from Phoenix Rising Stadium.
Equality Health is giving doctors more time to be doctors, so they can give you the care you deserve. Ask if your doctor is part of the Equality Health Network today. Equality Health. Caring is back.
Who do you want to be? Where do you want to go? How fast do you want to get there? At Gateway Community College, you can achieve a career that takes you places in less time and for less money. Opportunity is not just for the select few. Living better is for everyone. Let us help you discover your future.
Tonight's broadcast of Phoenix Rising FC is presented by Equality Health, Carvana will drive you happy, and by NAU Nationwide. Sean St. Jacques, Gary Bailey back here with you. First half highlights between Phoenix and Detroit, 8th minute, and it's Phoenix on the attack.
Yeah, Artiaga on the ball, looks up, finds Armonakis. He turns, double deflection, and Ryan Scheller somehow gets fingertips of, it comes off a boot, a head, and the goalkeeper gets a touch onto the crossbar. What a save that was.
And then Phoenix back on the attack here through Artiaga.
Armonakis wide, and then it's a shot from or a cross from Manjoma. Ryan Scheller just cuts it out. There's a couple of red shirts who are waiting for that ball from Manjoma, and he gets a hand to it and just pushes it away from danger.
And not too long after that, a mistake from Phoenix nearly allowed Detroit to get in behind.
Yeah, good build on the right-hand side here. The ball's eventually going to come through to Ben Morris. He tries a little ball inside here for Connor Rutz, whose final shot is off target, but up until then, the two of them managed to get right past the entire Phoenix Rising defense. But the final product, not too good.
That was probably Detroit's best chance of the half, and Phoenix kept on coming. They kept trying to create chances. Another great save here from Shello.
Phenomenal save. Look, it was blown for offside, Danny Trejo, but still look at the goalkeeper get up, strong left hand, and make sure it goes over the crossbar. And then the moment when it all fell apart, the ball's going to come in, and Stephen Carroll, the ball's going to come back to him here. His first touch is poor, loses it. Artiaga very unselfishly then plays it across to Trejo. He picks a spot. Amumensa nearly clears it off the line, but a basic error, poor first touch from Stephen Carroll, who's normally so dependable, and they get punished.
And that is where we stand at the moment. 16 goals for Danny Trejo, and that is the 1-0 advantage. Halftime stats look like this: 2 shots on target for Phoenix, none for Detroit, but Detroit actually outshot Phoenix overall 5-4, so there's certainly some opportunities here for Trevor James's group, but I will say statistically, the odds are against Detroit this season at the half. When they trailed normally, Detroit, 6 losses out of 6 so far. Phoenix tend to win from this position. We'll see if that holds up.
Yeah, especially on home ground as well. If you look at expected goals, it's 0.41 for Phoenix, so to be 1 up is good, but 0.1 expected goal for Detroit City. They really haven't tested Rios Nova at all in the first half.
8 times this season that Phoenix has been ahead in the past. 6 wins, 1 draw, 1 defeat, and the 6 times this season Detroit has trailed at the half. As I mentioned earlier, 6 defeats. So we'll see if the history continues to favor Phoenix or if Detroit have a trick or 2 up their sleeve.
You should ask the guys from halftime to do the math on that. Basically put, it's very little chance that Detroit City get anything out of this match, but they're a real tough side. They don't give you much. I think 11 out of 12 games they've lost. They've only lost by 1 goal, so they will scrap and fight right to the death.
We do have a game to update you on. Monterey Bay at one point were 2-0 down at home against Las Vegas. Well, with 15 minutes left in Seaside, Monterey Bay have a 3-2 lead as they completely turned that game on its head. That's a huge game as far as the playoff line in the Western Conference is concerned. It's still 0-0 between Sac Republic and El Paso. We're trying to put together another strong road result, Locomotive that is. And 77th minute, Tulsa leading at Oakland, still by a 0-0 as the second half kicks off here in Phoenix. Danny Trejo has rising ahead by a 0-0. A result that would put Phoenix back in the home playoff places, into the top 4 in the Western Conference. It would open the door for Tulsa to get back into the top 8 in the East and leave Detroit, as it stands, on the outside looking in. Of course, that would also mean Blue City would not clinch a playoff spot tonight. They'd have to wait. The other 2 things went their way tonight. They had to win against San Diego. They did that. They needed Miami to drop points against Pittsburgh. That happened as well. They also needed Tulsa to drop points against Oakland, and at the moment, that is not happening. So we'll keep an eye on that result on top of what's happening in Seaside and in Sacramento as well.
And by the way, just to give you an example of how tight the West is, Oakland in 6th, and Colorado in 7th, and Monterey Bay in 8th, and El Paso in 9th, all have 40 points in the live table.
Wow.
What a battle it is. And that's only 3 points behind San Diego Loyal, who lost their 2nd match in a row. And San Diego Loyal go to Monterey Bay for their next game. So the Loyal could find themselves in a real scrap to make the playoffs at all.
Just like last year, the Western Conference delivers drama at the end of the regular season, and the East as well is shaping up to be a tremendous final few weeks of the regular season as we get closer and closer to the month of October.
I think right now, obviously, Detroit fans are looking at that Oakland Roots match saying, come on, Roots, we need you to get something against Tulsa.
Can Detroit find a leveler here? Rutz looking for space. Brian, right back into the middle, right into the chest of Rocco Rios Novo. it comes to a sports injury, the unknown can be unsettling, but there's one thing that can calm that uncertainty: an answer. Mayo Clinic uncovers answers every day through exploration, teamwork, and innovation. Answers that can lead to more answers and define a path forward. So if you're looking for answers related to a sports injury, you know where to go. Learn more at sportsmedicine.mayoclinic.com.
When you look at the odds of a goal here for Detroit City, you've got to compare. Phoenix Rising have 46 goals this season, Detroit 24, which is nearly half. So you can see that Detroit really are not a big scoring side at all, which is why they have to defend. They have to make sure they don't give Phoenix a second one and just hope they can sneak something at the end.
Of course, Detroit's 4-match unbeaten run is in jeopardy at the start of this second half as well. That ball is floated nicely into the path of Fuenmayor, who places it into the penalty area. That was dangerous. It was allowed to bounce in there, but it's helped along, and it's out for a Phoenix corner on the near side. More defending to do for Detroit City here is Jose Hernandez. He's having a word with our center official, Joshua Encarnacion.
Jose Hernandez saying this week that he wants to take on a bigger leadership role at Phoenix. He feels he can really help with his experience in the middle of the pitch.
Gallardo from the corner, and it was headed out, but there was a foul in the build-up, and it's a Detroit City free kick.
And besides a win here today, Wangera was saying to the press earlier this week that he wants to make it 3 clean sheets in a row. He thinks it's important to really start tightening up in defense ahead of the playoffs. There he is. If he gets another clean sheet, if he can keep his defense tight, he knows he has some wonderful attacking prowess in this side. That's going to be the major aim. Obviously 3 points is the first aim, but they'd love to do it with a clean sheet if they can.
Here's Bryant, Detroit, running a ball through. It's touched towards the end line by Ben Morris, and it's out of play. Both teams were forced into an injury substitution in the first half. Brett Levi's left early with an injury for Detroit. Richard Ballard replaced him. And of course, Erickson Gallardo came on for Gabby Torres, who this season had 5 assists in his prior 7 starts for Phoenix. This was his 8th start of the year tonight. And we hope that for both of those players, the injuries aren't too serious. They'll both be needed down the stretch if they can stay healthy. Arteaga with a sidewinding effort. Took a couple of deflections on the way through, and it's going to be a goal kick for Detroit, it appears, on the back end. And while Arteaga picked up his 6th assist in the first half on the Trejo goal, that's actually now the joint team lead with Panos Armanakis. There's Ballard. Just easing Traore, or beg your pardon, Lanchoma off of the ball. Rodriguez cycles it back for Matt Lewis. This helped along. Ballard again. Surrounded by Phoenix players, and he's dispossessed. Hernandez. Quick feed. He's shepherded off it by Lewis. Detroit play on. Ballard. Ballard chops it towards his left. Bryan crosses it into the penalty area, headed away by Fuenmayor. Mensah to help it along. Gallardo just about clear it, and it's going to be a Detroit throw.
That's a good start to the second half by Detroit. They're putting some pressure on Phoenix Rising, and I guess they would have expected this, the Rising, being that they're 1-0 up. They've got to just weather the storm, but they need to get control of the ball back. because if Detroit keep getting opportunities or getting possession anywhere around the edge of the box, you never know what they might conjure up. If you're a Phoenix Rising fan, you want to get control of the match back and start creating chances, because if you get the ball, you can bring in Armenakis, Arteaga, and Danny Trejo, and you know they will cause problems.
Fans, be sure to visit your local Arizona Financial Credit Union branch to get your Phoenix Rising debit card. It's a great way to support the team and spread the word. Visit arizonafinancial.org. I said, Gary, good response for Trevor James's group at the start of this second half. But also, as you mentioned, the lack of goals at times from Detroit this season. Can they find that equalizing goal? And Morris leads them, but he only has 5 goals this season. They do have Dario Suarez on the bench. He has 3. See if he'll be part of the attack at some point tonight.
Well, they are the lowest scorers in the entire USL. Detroit City with just 24 goals. And they're 28 and a half, would it be? Matches so far, yeah. You've got to add that at the same time and say they're a fantastic defensive side. It's not that they're just not good at scoring, as they focus on defense first and foremost. And even here in this match, some teams might have a go at Phoenix and end up losing 3 or 4-0. I think that's a very rare situation for Detroit. They'll still keep it tight. They'll still work. And as I mentioned, I think of their 12 defeats, 11 were by just 1 goal. They don't allow teams to steamroller them.
Ballard was able to get past Manjoma in that sequence, but the ball trickled out of play, allowing Phoenix to regain possession. Novo. Stenberg is Phoenix. Build from the back. Again, it's the first time these two have met in the respective clubs' histories. Touch rolls into the path of Jope. Traore picks it up for Phoenix. Here's Manjoma. 3 players entering the penalty area for Phoenix. Manjoma, a little chip across. Amu Mensah gets his head to it, with Arteaga lurking in the penalty area.
Good defending again by Amu Mensah. Took a brave header because there was a couple of bodies flying in. The big centre-back gets rid of the ball.
Fuenmayor. Other side, Traore. Now then, Manjoma. He dances past Bryant into the penalty area. It's a great ball across, and Armenakis scores. Dazzling play from Eddie Manjoma. And it's touched home for a 4th goal of the season by Panos Armenakis. Phoenix 10 minutes into the start of the second half. Add a second and lead by 2-0.
And that's a fantastic run by Eddie Manjoma down that left-hand side. Beats his defender, comes inside, drops his shoulder against Michael Bryant, then gets behind him, head up, pulls it back unselfishly and finds Armenakis, who just tucks it into the back of the net there. It's quite a simple finish, nothing that Ryan Cello can do. It's what, 8, maybe 10 yards out, but hit with power. Gives the goalkeeper no chance whatsoever. And that's the 2nd goal, and maybe the insurance goal that Phoenix Rising just needed. Now they can relax and start to play some enjoyable football.
All smiles for Juan Guerra and Phoenix. What a playmaker Panos Armenakis has been since coming into the fold here with Phoenix Rising. But it must be said, that play was all about the run by Eddie Manjoma, who set it up beautifully. And Phoenix are 2 to the good.
Now it's a real mountain to climb for Detroit City. Do they throw everything for it? I just said it's very rare that they lose by more than 1 goal. So do they just shut up shop, or do they take risks? They've got a couple of options on the bench, Dario Suarez being one of them that they can throw on, perhaps a Neil Fisher as well. Maybe we'll see them at some stage. But if they throw too many forward, they could lose by 3 or 4, and that's very unlike Detroit City.
The shot from Job, I should say, was bobbled ever so slightly by Rios Nova, but in that red smoke in the goal celebration, he is able to hold on to it. I was going to say, Gary, the first goal was all from a Detroit mistake, but the second goal was more like it from Juan Guerra as far as what they like to do in the attack.
It's such a quality outfit that Juan Guerra's put together, and he said from the beginning it's going to take time to settle, and you wonder, most coaches say that, so you wonder if it's actually going to happen. But I think we're seeing more and more now. There's quality in every player on this pitch. There's quality off the bench, and they really understand each other. And it's going to take a lot to stop this team from going all the way to the USL Championship final, I would think.
I was going to say, if they play like this, and like we've seen them play at other times at home this season, Phoenix have put up a couple of crooked numbers here this season. They are going to be one tough team to beat, especially, Gary, if they have 1 or 2 home playoff games.
You talk about numbers. They put 5 past El Paso at home a good few weeks back. They put 6 past Memphis at home.
I think that was the one I was thinking of.
Yeah. You know, it's very important for Detroit because their nature is not to give you very much. They will not want to concede anymore. But at the same time, they have to believe that they get one, they can maybe get a draw. So very delicate balancing act for Trevor James's side.
Joma under pressure from Ballard, and then Traore. He's taken out by Ben Morris, and it's a Phoenix free kick.
The thing for Trevor James is they do have 3 home matches coming out of their last 5, but one of them's against Pittsburgh, the leaders in the East. Another one's against Colorado Springs, who got their fantastic win in Orange County last night, and they're a difficult side to beat. They have got Hartford at home in the next match, so that you would think, the way Hartford have been struggling, that should be 3 points for Detroit, but maybe Loudon away could be another good opportunity for them, but none of these matches are going to be easy for Detroit.
Well, we've just been told that Gabby Torres had some work done during the halftime break, and he's back here. Well, there he is in a knee brace. And he's tough to see again. That it's not a long-term thing, but a knee brace we'll have to see. But tough to see that for Gabby Torres. Not the first time he's had to deal with that. It was almost a resigned look on his face when he was getting work done after he initially went to the bench. And we wish him the best moving forward. Such a good player. He's been for multiple teams in this league. As we approach the hour mark in this one, Phoenix searching for what could be a killer blow, a 3rd goal. Might just seal the points here. Traore sizes it up. Took a big deflection on the way through, and it's out for a Phoenix Rising corner.
Yeah, Ryan Shello had gone to his left, and he had to come back very quickly to his right for that shot. In the end, he didn't move too much because I don't think he would have got it. Such was the deflection. Turns totally. You can see Shello's gone one way, and he just couldn't get his balance back the other. And he just watches it fly over. But again, you know, if you're on the edge of the box taking shots, every once in a while you'll get some luck. You'll get a deflection or an error by the goalkeeper. And that's the importance of being on the front foot as a team and getting shots on target.
Carvana corner is played short, back to Hernandez. Armanakis whips in a really good ball, and it's headed over the top. Manuel Arteaga looking to get on the score sheet himself, and that's what Panos Armanakis does best, 6 assists, and he nearly got another one here.
Good ball in. It's kept reasonably low. It's got some pace on it, and Arteaga's a very good header of the ball. Unfortunately, he's going a bit backwards. It's hard to get it down and hard to get enough power on it, but I guess from a Phoenix Rising point of view now, all you want to do is just strangle Detroit, get the ball, keep possession, move it around, frustrate and tire out Detroit City. Conversely, they need to get the ball and get on the front foot to the visiting side.
Best play on a new Ford is at Sanderson Ford, Arizona's largest Ford dealership. Just past the hour mark. Sean St. Jacques, Gary Bailey, our entire crew, happy to have you with us. It's been a very fun game to watch. So far, it's been a little bit more fun for Phoenix than it's been for Detroit. subs for Trejo and for Panos Armanakis.
You go back to that Stephen Carroll mistake just before half-time. If he doesn't make that 1-0 down, you've got to believe Detroit City. You don't have to take chances. You can just wait till the last 10 minutes and then start to lump the ball in. But at 2-0 down, you really start chasing the match, and it could very easily turn ugly to a 3 or 4-0 defeat, which, let's say, just very rarely happens to this Detroit side.
Ball is kicked away from Arteaga. Headed down by Bryant for Ballard. And sliced by Rodriguez into Gallardo's path. The substitute is going to play it safe. Goes all the way back for Stenberg. His pass is a little short. Rodriguez couldn't quite pounce on it. Here's Traore. Slicing a ball nicely through for Armanakis, and Phoenix looking to break through Detroit once again. Trejo dispossessed by Jope and then cleared by Rodriguez. And Stenberg has his arms around Ben Morris.
Well, to be fair to Trevor James, when we spoke to him, he said that front line of Danny Trejo, Armanakis and Arteaga, he said it's probably the best, or certainly amongst the best in the USL. Well, it was Arteaga and Trejo who combined for the first goal, and Armanakis who scored the second. So I guess Trevor James was spot on in his assessment.
Sent ahead for Gallardo down the far side. When Jomo wants it, and it's deflected to Shello in the end. That Monterey Bay game went final, by the way, Gary, and it's a 3 points and 3 goals for Frank Yallop's group. They survive against Las Vegas. They were 2-0 down after 20 minutes. They come back and win it by 3 goals to 2.
That is Monterey's 4th win in a row. Oh, here's trouble.
Trejo's in again for Phoenix, and he delicately chips it in for 3. A brace for Danny Trejo, who has 17 goals now for Phoenix. And it looks now that Phoenix are over the hills and far, far away from Detroit now. They lead by 3 goals to 0 with 25 minutes left.
That's superbly well taken by Danny Trejo just to chip the keeper. And this is always a danger for Detroit City. They started chasing the match. Mind you, it might be overturned for some reason here. Let's have a look. Oh, it's given. But as they start chasing the match, then you get caught, because this is such a good Phoenix Rising side. And the hand is up for offside. And Danny Trejo reads it. I think he keeps himself onside really well. Pass gets through. And once he's through one-on-one, it's just a clever little chip. He's 17th. That's joined top of the USL with Albert Dikwa, who scored earlier this evening for Pittsburgh in their win. But what a clever finish. Nothing that Ryan Shello could do. And that is game, set, and match. And now it's just damage limitation for Detroit City. They don't want it to get any worse than it currently is.
Gateway Community College goal for Danny Trejo. Number 17 for Phoenix's number 17. And it's going to be a heck of a race in the USL Championship Golden Boot down the final weeks of the regular season. And Detroit's chances here have appeared to have gone up in a red puff of smoke in the second half. And Phoenix have turned a 1-0 lead into a 3-0 lead.
Well, the bad news for Detroit City is FC Tulsa are still 1-up going into the 90th minute to Oakland Roots, which would be an incredible win for FC Tulsa. But really bad news for Detroit, who would then drop down into 9th position and out of the playoff position.
It's also another tough loss for Oakland, it must be said as well. Noah Delgado's boys now on a bit of a slide at the wrong time of the season. I think that's 3 losses in a row if it holds.
Yep, you're correct. 3 losses in a row and 4 losses in their last 5.
Oh.
And that means that they are on 40 points. Monterey Bay on 40 points. Colorado Springs on 40 points. And El Paso on 39. As it stands at the moment, they are losing 1-0 at Sac Republic.
You want drama? We've got it. Goodness gracious me. It's going to be so, so good down the stretch. It's like Derek Formella, he's getting his marching orders from Guerra and his coaching staff. You might see him, former Oakland Roots man, in just a few moments.
I would expect other changes to happen as well, with Fede Varela and even Carlos Harvey to come on, give themselves a getting opportunity to stretch their legs and just get into the game.
This ball is sent over to the near side when Joma. Trejo's on a hat trick. And then Joma is dispossessed by Maxi Rodriguez. Tries to play it down the line for Morris, and Traore snuffs it out. Ballard coming inside for Detroit. Still Ballard. And then he unleashes an effort that is wayward in the end after another lovely run past multiple defenders. When Ballard stays down here at the tail end of the play, remember he came on for Brett Levi's, who was dealing with an injury. Phoenix and maybe Tulsa, I beg your pardon, Detroit as well. About to make some changes here. Enos Armanakis scored the second goal for Phoenix. He's going to come off. Derek Formella comes on. Here is that second goal for Phoenix.
Yeah, good finish by Armanakis. Beautifully set up by Manjoma. And by the way, Armanakis could have had a second, but for an incredible save from Ryan Cello in the first half. So really good performance by Armanakis.
Carlos Harvey is going to come on for Jose Hernandez. So two fresh changes for Juan Guerra, who appreciates what Enos Armanakis brought to the table once again tonight. Carlos Harvey, who you said earlier, Gary, could very easily be starting for Phoenix. He's going to come on to see out the last 20 minutes for the hosts. And Detroit going to make some alterations as well. Adrian Billhart is going to come on for Reese Williams. As Trevor James shuffles the deck ever so slightly. A few good moments from Reese Williams in the first half, but since then, Phoenix have totally taken over the match.
Yeah, at home he gets forward a lot more. Reese Williams, such a dangerous player on attack, but has a very limited opportunity here today.
And Dario Suarez has come on as well for Detroit, so it's a double switch. So Ben Morris came off for Dario Suarez, and Reese Williams came off for Adrian Billhart. Those are the two Detroit substitutions. Oh, lovely little dummy there from Maxi Rodriguez. It didn't come off in the end.
Well, for Detroit, it looks like it's all lost here unless there's an amazing turnaround. So their focus, as soon as this match is over, will be Hartford at home, Colorado at home, 2 home matches. And at Keyworth Stadium, it's an intimidating place to go to. So I'm sure Trevor James will be whipping up the fans to say, come on, support us. If we get 2 home wins back-to-back, then maybe we can put some distance between us and FC Tulsa in that 8th and final playoff position.
Gallardo. Phoenix is stood up. And Cello will clear for Detroit. 2 other games have gone final. FC Tulsa wins at Oakland. Wow. By a Philip Goodrum goal to nil. Huge win for Blair Gavin's group. Tough loss for Noah Delgado's boys, who really are looking in tough shape at the moment. And Sacramento Republic with a 90 plus 4 minute winner against El Paso. So the Locomotive, who looked to have had a point at Sac Republic, come away with nothing. And that is potentially a big result for the teams towards the bottom in the West, like Monterey Bay and even potentially Oakland at this point. As far as that 8th and final playoff spot is concerned, El Paso nearly with 2 impressive road points in the last couple of games. They'll have to settle for just the 1, and they get nothing tonight.
Well, it's comfortable now for Phoenix, just knocking the ball around. Detroit will try and obviously try and get something out of this game, get a goal if they can. Phoenix want to keep a clean sheet. The job is effectively done. Now it's just a mopping up time for Phoenix Rising. They don't want to make any errors. They want to just keep professional, but see the game out. And if they can get one on the counter, why not?
Here comes Trejo, who's on a hat trick. Formella's in the middle. Trejo slows it down. There's Formella. Formella curling one. Amu Mensah is able to deal with the situation before Ballard juggles and clears. Another team who's had results go their way tonight is Colorado Springs. After their win against Orange County yesterday, they went up to 6th, and there was a good chance they could have gone right back down to 8th. They're still in 6th after all the other results, so they're sitting in a decent spot. But like you said, Gary, switchbacks, Oakland and Monterey Bay all on 40 points, San Diego on 43, El Paso on 39, and New Mexico on 36. RGV will certainly have to win in their next game. They're on 32, but that's their game in hand. So a win for them could put them back in the mix, as Formella's touch was poor, and regardless, he was in an offside position. Still a very fluid situation, but so far Juan Guerra's boys have done the job here tonight with 16 minutes plus stoppage time left to see out.
Yeah, he must be a very happy man now, Juan Guerra. It's been a tough season, and there were periods when Phoenix Rising was sitting on the borderline of not even qualifying, but you can see now that his plan is coming together. The team are looking really good, and whilst he's taking this game by game, as all coaches tell you they do, I'm sure he's got a little eye ahead to the playoffs and thinking what would be his starting 11 and where his strengths are and which players will bring off the bench once they reach the knockout stages. And that's why he's so keen on a clean sheet. He wants his team to be defensively super tight going into the playoffs.
Harvey just about gets it away from Maxi Rodriguez. Score your new career at Gateway Community College. With Gateway, you can achieve your dream career in less time and for less money. Get started at gatewaycc.edu. 15 minutes plus stoppage time left for Phoenix, as the offside flag is up against Erickson Gallardo. Fans have enjoyed it so far here in Phoenix. Team is playing up to snuff, just like they have come to expect around here. It's a team that has been to multiple USL Cup finals over the years. Of course, the pandemic final that never happened. They were supposed to play the Rowdies of Tampa Bay. A couple of years before that, Didier Drogba, formerly of course Chelsea, England, led Phoenix to a final in 2018, but they lost to Louisville. It was back-to-back titles for Lou City at the time. Are hoping that maybe, just maybe, this could be the year they get back to lift that elusive crown that has just been out of their reach over the years. Here's Formella. Trejo's on a hat trick. He plays it across. It's brilliant. Oh, and it hits the bottom of the post from Arteaga, and maybe was deflected out as well. Carroll doesn't think so, but it's going to be a corner for Phoenix.
So close. Danny Trejo just timing his run perfectly, head up. Not sure if this hits Carroll or the post. I don't think it does hit the defender. I think it's put out of play directly. Or maybe it does. It does come off his foot. Hard to say what it was, but again, Danny Trejo's pace and vision and ability. What a signing he has turned out to be.
Carvana corner for Phoenix here, to put a cherry on top of the sundae. It's in by Gallardo. It's headed down by Arteaga. just misses hitting the target. Bodies were flying everywhere inside the penalty area there, and looks like it's John Stenberg who's still slow to get up for Phoenix. Have another look at Arteaga's near chance.
Decent corner, whipped him with a lot of pace, comes back. Arteaga is so good with his head, but he's going backwards again. It's hard to generate enough power when you're going backwards. Knocks it down into the ground and just goes over the crossbar. But the real strength for Phoenix, and they're not bad in the air, but they're just so good with Danny Trejo's pace. Arteaga's holding up with the ball and he's shooting, and Armonakis's overall football intelligence. Those front three are, well, Trevor James said they're the best, if not one of the best. Well, it's looking, I would tend to say they're the best at the moment, given the goals they're scoring. 31 between the two of them up front. And Armonakis hasn't been there very long for him to have tallied up a whole bunch of goals, but just the two main strikers, 31 goals. That is super, super impressive. And that's more than Detroit City have got. They've only got 24, so just two players on Phoenix have got way more than the entire Detroit City side, which, as we said before, it's not an attacking natured side. It's very much a defensively tight side, but that man there just on his own and along with Arteaga, absolutely.
Looks like that is going to be the end of the night for Danny Trejo. He's going to get a curtain call here in Phoenix, and it's because he scored his 16th and 17th goals of the season and continues to push for the Golden Boot, Gary.
He does. It's such a clever finish there to get it over the oncoming goalkeeper, and his pace, his vision, his ability to finish, all top class, and getting better. There's applause from his coach, and he's getting better at the right time as he heads towards the playoffs.
Freddy Varela replaces him. And it is going to be the end of the night as well for the man that set up the goal from Armonakis as well, Eddie Manjoma. He's going to come off as well. Emil Trejo has come on. And in the meantime, a bit of a frustration foul, I think, from Matt Lewis, and he sees yellow because of it.
Yeah, you just got to keep your cool now if you're Detroit City. Not easy to do. You're taking a bit of a pounding. It's not going the way you want, but you've got to think of the next match. You don't want any red cards. You know, next match, Hartford, you've got to be looking at that as 3 points, and even Colorado Springs, the game after that at home. And the last thing you want to do is have a red card and lose a crucial player, which Matt Lewis, of course, is.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Gary, but I think that's the first yellow card of the night for either side. I could be wrong.
I think you are right. I don't have anything down either. It's been played in a very good spirit. I mean, we said it would be physical, but it's been physical in the nicest possible way. It's been an honest type of physical. It hasn't been nasty, little off the ball incidents. It's been very decently played by both sides. Only problem for Detroit, their expected goals at this stage is 0.21.
Yeah.
You're not going to win many games if you don't create chances, and you know, generally they get 0.6. The last match against Miami was 0.69. They scored twice. Fantastic return from just 0.69. And they drew at home with Memphis, 0.98. So they got their one goal there. So they don't really get above 1, but they get certainly above 0.5. Well, 0.21 is way short. And I think that will bother Trevor James. But ultimately, he might just say, look, we're up against a fantastic side.
Trejo into the middle. Oh, it's 4-0. Fittingly, Manuel Arteaga gets on the score sheet as well for Phoenix. He's been the facilitator for a big chunk of the proceedings tonight, but he scores his 15th goal of the season. It's a captain's goal, and Phoenix are 4-0 up and have surely sealed all 3 points.
Absolutely, game, set, and match, no question about that, but they'll be looking to keep that clean sheet and keep scoring because they're looking ahead to the playoffs. They know that they can do a lot of damage and maybe go the entire way. Beautiful ball through. Trejo, first time touch. It's not like he has to set it up. The quality of the ball back in to Arteaga is absolutely top class. A lot of players will bring it under control, but he knows that Arteaga's lost his marker, and by getting it in first time, it's a simple finish from the captain, and hugs all round for the coaching staff. They know that not only are they on their way to the playoffs, but it's going to be a home game most likely, and they could go all the way.
4 times tonight that Phoenix have been on target. And Manuel Arteaga, who's been involved in all of it, gets his goal. It's now 32 goals between Arteaga and Trejo this season. For Detroit, it has been a tough night on the road, their first ever trip to Phoenix. It's not going to be a very memorable one for them. Like you said, Gary, there's very winnable games still to come. At the moment, Tulsa are going to have that inside track, potentially getting that final spot in the Eastern Conference playoffs.
I was mentioning earlier of their 12 defeats, Detroit City 11 have been by just 1 goal. The only time they were beaten by more than 1 goal was away at Tampa Bay when they got beat 5-1. 4-goal separation, and that was against a fantastic Tampa Bay Rowdies side away from home. Well, I guess Trevor James will look at this and say, well, it was against a fantastic Phoenix Rising side away from home, and we took a bit of a pounding, but we bounced back in true blue-collar style, which is what this Detroit City team is all about.
Arteaga and Phoenix are looking for more here. It was threaded through Shello. A great first half in particular. He's able to clear.
I've got to feel sorry for Ryan Shello because he made one of the best saves I've seen in the USL all season in the first half, and the stat you gave was he's played in 3 games and they've won all 3.
Yeah.
Well, it had to come to an end. But you know, people might look at the scoreline and say 4-0, the goalkeeper didn't do well, but he did well and didn't have many chances, or didn't have any chance really with the goals. They were all quite easy for the opposition to score. Not much the keeper could do about any of them.
Looks like more changes are coming for Detroit. To that in just a few moments. I think I saw Jalen Robinson down there, set to come on. Where would you put Phoenix in the Western Conference pecking order, Gary? Obviously, San Antonio are right there. They're the defending champions. Sac Republic look as tough as they've ever looked under Mark Briggs as well. And Orange County, yes, they had their red-hot run come to an end last night, but they're as tough to deal with as anybody.
Yeah, I think it's a battle between Phoenix Rising and Orange County for that 3rd spot. I would say San Antonio and Sac Republic deserve to be where they are. But on their day, and this is what's important, on their day, if Phoenix had to go to either of the top 2 teams or even Orange County to get a result, I think they are very, very capable of doing it. They've got balance everywhere, they've got depth. Not as physical as the likes of San Antonio, but certainly move the ball around. And with Trejo's pace, they've got someone who could turn the match in a moment.
Trejo just trying to thread a ball through there. It was cut out. 5 minutes and stoppage time still to play. As Zambrano left a bit of a challenge there on Abdoulaye Joe.
Join Arizona's only professional soccer club as it goes head-to-head with Indy 11 at the team's new home. Visit phxrisingfc.com or call 623-594-9606 for ticket information.
Zambrano was booked for that challenge. Yellow card for him.
It was a nice gesture. He went across to the player that he tackled, shake of hands, apology. Nothing nasty in that, and that's always good to see.
Jalen Robinson is going to come on for Michael Bryant for Detroit City. Connor Rutz is also going to come off. O'Neal Fisher Jr. He's going to replace him. A late double switch here for Trevor James, with the points just about lost here for the visitors.
I'm not so sure about just about. I think they're lost.
Fair enough, Gary.
to get 4 goals back in 4 minutes against Phoenix Rising. But I know what you're saying. In football, you can never take anything absolutely for granted. But I don't think Juan Guerra is in the least bit concerned that he's going to lose any points here today.
Sounds like you're saying the cherry is firmly on top of the sundae, Gary.
Yeah, no question about it. Look, there might be a chance for Detroit just to get the 1 goal back and spoil the clean sheet for Phoenix Rising. That's always possible. And that's at least something to take away from the match if they can do it, Detroit.
They're looking to try that here. Maybe a chance to cross this into the middle. It's laid off here, and the shot does come in from Maxi Rodriguez. It's deflected out, and it's a Detroit City corner on the far side. Looks like it was Billhart who tried to make the run in initially. Not a bad effort from Maxi Rodriguez. We know he can strike it rather well. Phoenix had enough numbers behind the ball, and now Rodriguez will take the corner. By Rodriguez, headed away by Stenberg. Detroit will settle for a throw on the far side. A couple minutes of the 90 still to play.
And your earlier stat about John Stenberg, again, you know, a clean, well, look what looks like is going to be a clean sheet. Since he's arrived, he's made a massive difference in defense.
It's just over a month now with him in the fold, and Juan Guerra mentioned it to us, just how important his presence has been. And the stats back that up. And that's what makes this Phoenix team dangerous, right? There were times early in the season where you look at the offense, you go, this is closer to what Phoenix normally do. Now can they close things down defensively? And we're getting to that point where we can start to say that yes, they can, and they're doing it consistently. And that's really what makes Phoenix very dangerous for other Western Conference teams in the playoffs.
Absolutely, this would be a 3rd clean sheet in a row if they can hold on to it, and that is impressive.
Gallardo can add on more for Phoenix. He will shoot. He skies it with his left boot. Shello will have a goal kick for Detroit as we approach the 90th minute.
This would be the 4th win out of the last 5, and a draw at Tulsa. That's out of 15 points. They would have picked up 13, Phoenix Rising, which is the sign of a quality side. To be fair, 3 of those have been at home, and 2 of them away. There's been a draw at Tulsa and a win by 1 goal at Las Vegas. But if you go a little bit further back, you've got that victory over...
Ooh, chance here for Formella! And he squeezes it in! Derek Formella rubs a little salt into the wound here. And Phoenix have a fantastic 5th. And it really has been a 5-star performance from Juan Guerra's group. And in the 90th minute, Formella makes it 5-0.
It's amazing, they keep on going, don't they? I was busy giving stats thinking the game was stuck at 4-0, and the 5th one pops up, but great to see Derek Formella scoring. It helps him settle into his new club. Varela with a pass there, and from a very tight angle, he just buries that just past the goalkeeper. And that's the one question mark against Ryan Shello. He's had a fantastic game in many senses, but maybe could have done a bit better on that shot. But well done, Phoenix Rising. They haven't given up. They've kept themselves tight in defense with a clean sheet. They're scoring goals for fun at the other end. And they've added Derek Formella to their lineup. And again, the depth is unbelievable for this side.
He now has 8 goals this season between Oakland and Phoenix, as we're nearly halfway through 2 added minutes. Just to quickly go through what's left for Phoenix. 5 games still to go. Indy at home on Wednesday. They have to go to El Paso on Saturday. Orange County at home to finish the month. Then New Mexico come to town, and they finish up at Widener Field against the Switchbacks. That could be a very juicy contest as well. Amu Mensah trying to cross one into the middle. It's cut out by Mo Traore. Bill Hart. Detroit keep coming. Jope has his shot blocked. Maybe a chance here for Fisher Jr. Lays it off for Jope. wide by Arteaga. As the final seconds tick down, or what's going to go down as a very impressive Phoenix win.
Yep, 5 goals scored, 3rd clean sheet in a row. Players coming off the bench and adding quality everywhere. Very impressive. Well done, Phoenix Rising.
5 goals and 5 stars for Juan Guerra and Phoenix Rising tonight. They take down Detroit City in their first ever meeting by 5 goals to 0. Really impressive from start to finish. Multiple players getting involved. 4 different goal scorers for Phoenix tonight. Danny Trejo led the way with a brace. Manuel Arteaga was impressive as well. Back to the drawing board for Trevor James in Detroit City. Their 4-match unbeaten run comes to an end, and Phoenix jump up to 4th place in the Western Conference, which, if it stands, of course, would be enough for a home playoff game here in Phoenix, Arizona. We'll see how Detroit bounces back, but just what Juan Guerra would have been hoping for. As we take a look at tonight's Save of the Match, it's presented by Truly Nolan. And in the end, it is this one from Rocco Rios Novo. We didn't have to do too much tonight, it must be said.
No, he didn't. Well, that's the best save coming from him. The best save of the match, of course, was the one from Ryan Cello in the first half. But that one, yeah, gets across, moves his feet well. But a quiet night otherwise for Rocco Rios Novo.
That's because Phoenix were so good from top to bottom tonight. And it is a really impressive 3 points for Juan Guerra to hang on to the ledger here in Phoenix tonight. 4 different goal scorers and a 5-0 win as they take down Detroit City here tonight. Really impressive. There's no question about that. And Phoenix look like the old Phoenix tonight with a 5-0 victory over Detroit. We'll take a break and we will wrap it all up next from Phoenix, Arizona.
Sanderson Ford gives back. They support local sports.
They support local businesses, restaurants, and music.
Y organizaciones en nuestra comunidad latina.
My favorite event is Operation Santa Claus.
And mine is the Cave Creek Rodeo.
I love participating in the Guardian Games with my son Evan for Special Olympics Arizona.
Your business has allowed Sanderson Charities to give back to all these local charities. We've been paying it forward for 68 years. Thank you.
Hey, Rising fans, spring is in the air and Circle K has what you thirst for. Stay cool with our famous Polar Pop Cups that stay cold longer. Fill your cup with your favorite flavor or mix it up to create your own. Or try our freshly ground iced coffee starting at just $1.89. While you're here, mix and match any 2 roller grill items, just 2 for $4. Check out these hot deals and cool down at Circle K, America's thirst stop and proud sponsor of Phoenix Rising.
Sean St. Jacques, Gary Bailey back here with you. And Juan Guerra, maybe not there, but he's been all smiles for most of the night tonight. And why not? Very, very impressive from Phoenix Rising this evening. A 5-0 win over Detroit City in their first ever meeting between the 2 clubs. Full-time highlights from this one. A lot to get to here. We begin at the end of the first half when Danny Trejo broke the deadlock for Phoenix.
He did, and unfortunately for Detroit City, this ball coming up there, that bad touch by Stephen Carroll. Arteaga gets it very unselfishly, sets it up for Danny Trejo, just manages to beat Amu Mensah. And you can see how angry the players were that it was their error that allowed Phoenix Rising to get the breakthrough. And of course, that meant second half that Detroit were going to have to come out a little bit and try and get on the front foot, which they did for about 5 or 10 minutes. And then this play down here, Eddie Monjoma just goes past Bryant there, leaves him for dead, head up, sets it on a play for Armanakis, 2-0, and from then onwards, it was just one-way traffic.
Phoenix kept on coming after that. That felt like the backbreaker from a Detroit standpoint. And then 9 minutes later, it would be Danny Trejo once again.
Yeah, there's a little bit of confusion at the back, and they stood still, Detroit. They waited. Danny Trejo didn't wait, got the through ball, chips it over the keeper as Ryan Scheller comes out. And that was a third one. They were pointing to the linesman to try and get a decision not given. Carlos Harvey, one of the subs, had come on. Nice bit of play around the edge of the fringes here. And at this stage, they were just looking for opportunities. Lovely first-time ball from Cuello. Arteaga back of the net, and Cuello's first-time pass was just top class. And the quality of football being played by Rising was just brilliant.
A goal and an assist from Manuel Arteaga, and then Derek Formella made absolutely certain with a fifth.
Yeah, the only time we questioned the goalkeeper, Ryan Scheller, was that one there. It was sort of at him and it squeezed past, but he made a couple of brilliant saves first half. Nice to see Derek Formella scoring. It'll help him settle in at his new club.
And here are the full-time match stats. It's not like Detroit didn't offer anything in the attack. They had a few moments, but to only have one shot on target out of 9 maybe tells the story from that perspective. And 6 shots on target for Phoenix. 5 of them found the back of the net.
Absolutely brilliant from Phoenix, and they took their chances so well. For Detroit, yeah, 0.26 expected goals, 1 shot on target, didn't really trouble the goalkeeper too much. Not the best game for Detroit City, but I'm sure Trevor James and company will say we were up against a fabulous team away from home on a tough, hot night in Phoenix. Let's get home. Let's welcome the Nets team back to Keyworth Stadium, and then we'll see what the business is all about.
What a fun way to end another incredible Saturday of USL Championship action. So many great games, so many great moments, and it ends with a thrilling performance from Phoenix Rising and a 5-0 thrashing. For Gary Bailey and our entire crew, I'm Sean St. Jacques. We say so long from Phoenix, Arizona. It feels like the old Phoenix. Rising beat Detroit by 5-0.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.